Well, there you have it. That's an update ongoing in South Africa. Well, just in case you tuned in, it's happening now. South Africa officially assumes the presidency of the Group of 20, a club including the world's wealthiest nation, on December 1. A lot has been said right there. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa breaking it down, especially looking at the opportunities that it portends, especially for the world and for Africa at large. You're watching News Central Television. Let's go straight to some of the big stories on news now and start off here in Nigeria, away from South Africa. Nigeria's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, has called on the International Criminal Court, ICC, to end its prolonged investigation into the Nigerian military. Speaking at the 23rd session of the Assembly of States Parties to the Rome Statute in The Hague, Netherlands, Fagbemi highlighted Nigeria's commitment to justice and the fight against terrorism. The Attorney General emphasized that Nigeria has consistently shown its dedication to confronting impunity and holding perpetrators of heinous crimes accountable. He noted that the preliminary examination into alleged crimes in Nigeria has dragged on for 14 years, a situation he described as demoralising for military personnel risking their lives in the fight against terrorism. Fagbemi reaffirmed Nigeria's status as a responsible state party to the Rome Statute, stating that the country has actively engaged with the ICC and upheld international humanitarian law. He also assured that any military personnel found guilty of misconduct would be held accountable. Well, let's give you more news. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has announced the recovery of its single largest assets to date, a sprawling estate in the Lokogoma district of Abuja. The estate, which spans 150,500 square meters and comprises 753 units of duplexes and other apartments, was forfeited following a court ruling on Monday. According to a statement released by the EFCC, this estate, located on plot 109 cadastral zone C09, was forfeited in a judgment delivered by Justice Jude Onwuabuezi. In his ruling, Justice Onwuabuezi noted that the former government official linked to the property failed to demonstrate that it was not acquired with proceeds of unlawful activities. The FCC alleges that the estate was built using funds from fraudulent activities and emphasized that its forfeiture is a key step in stripping the suspect of illegally acquired assets. Stakeholders in Nigeria's public sector have rejected the proposed amendment of the nation's Procurement Act, suggesting stricter penalties for contractors who delay or abandon projects in the country. This was during a public hearing on a bill to amend the nation's Procurement Act, which was held in the nation's House of Representatives. Our correspondent Idong Joseph has more in this report.
The prevalence of delays and abandonment of public projects by contractors in Nigeria has become a significant source of worry. While this has prompted calls for effective legislation to address and resolve these challenges, Nigeria's House of Representatives, during a public hearing, says that an amendment to existing Procurement Act, which calls for stricter penalties on contractors who fail to comply with their contract terms, is apt.
This culture of project delays preceded the current problem of inflation and devaluation. Hence, it is a problem that we now must address from a legislative perspective. The instant problem impacts governance in Nigeria and has affected our ability to deliver the dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people.
However, stakeholders at the hearing expressed varying opinions, insisting that such penalties already exist.
It is my considered opinion that the proposed amendment is not necessary, as this has been adequately provided for in all general conditions of contract and standard bidding documents as a matter of practice. This is in line with best global practice. I have come with original documents by FIDIC to address this point.
The Bureau therefore recommends that the committee should rather help in the proper implementation and enforcement of the existing laws by ensuring that funds for contracts awarded should be provided as and when due.
Lawmakers say that the Act will be reviewed in a bid to embrace efficiency and accountability in government's contractual process. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
The former governors of Abia, Edo and Kebbi states have lauded Nigeria's former president Olusegun Obasanjo for the administration of local government councils under his watch. They say that there is a need to address an evident decline of governance at this tier of government. This was during a national dialogue on local government administration and constitution amendment, where they were unanimous in supporting financial autonomy for local government councils. Our correspondent Idonk Joseph tells us more.
The state of local government councils in Nigeria has remained a significant concern. Despite being fundamental to grassroots development, these councils suffer from inefficiency, corruption, and a lack of autonomy. The recent Supreme Court judgment on financial autonomy for local government councils has appeared to be a ray of hope in troubled waters, expected to address this worrisome issue. At this dialogue, organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Constitutional Review, former governors of Abia, Edo, and Kebbi states say local government areas were better managed under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
President Obasanjo was vehemently that there should be separation of power. By then you can see a councillor, a supervisory councillor, giving contracts to construct culverts. This is not what I'm seeing today.
Even the opposition party, by then, when won quite a number of councillors, they didn't win chairmanship position.
Was that deliberate?
Hold on. They didn't win chairmanship position, but they won over 30 councilorships.
While they expressed strong support for the recent Supreme Court ruling granting financial autonomy to local government councils, some raised questions about its expected outcome.
If I have to say, the judgment of the Supreme Court is amendment of the Constitution. Nobody should go anything. The National Assembly have no reason to amend any section of the Constitution. We do respect his lordship.
So freedom, autonomy to do what? Autonomy to take what the governor used to take is now to be taken by council chairman. If so, what will change?
As discussions on constitutional amendments continue, many believe that empowering local government with fiscal and administrative autonomy will be crucial in fostering sustainable developments at the grassroots.
We must advocate for greater financial autonomy for local governments by ensuring that they receive adequate funding directly from federal allocations without excessive state control.
The governors are keen to collaborate with stakeholders, including development partners, civil society, and other arms of government to translate this autonomy into tangible improvements in the lives of our people.
The dialogue reflects the growing demand for systemic changes that could revitalize local government as an essential component of Nigeria's administrative structure. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idonk Joseph.
In the southern part of the continent, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in Cape Town, South Africa for the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission, BNC. It was received by South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Roland Lamola, alongside Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu. The BNC deliberations will be across 8 working groups, each focusing on a specific area of mutual interests. These include political consultations, consular and migration, banking and finance, defense and security, manufacturing, social sector, mines and energy, and trade and investment. Meanwhile, South Africa's Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, has emphasized the country's readiness to foster cooperation on pressing regional and international security issues. The minister said this during the 11th bilateral meeting between South Africa and Nigeria held in Cape Town on Monday. Minister Lamola articulated a strong message inviting and thanking Nigeria's collaboration in addressing challenges that affect both nations and broader African continent, with a shared commitment to peace and stability. This meeting underscores the importance of solidarity among African nations.
Of instability and conflict in the SADC region, at ECOWAS and other regions of our continent, threaten to undermine security and dampen our socio-economic development. For example, the war in the Sudan requires resolution, given the devastating impact it has inflicted on the population. And in this regard, South Africa remains available to offer any help or assistance that will lead towards peaceful resolution of the conflict. South Africa and Nigeria affirmed that Africa Agenda 2063, our continental blueprint for development, should be pursued with more determination. However, it needs more committed stewardship and vision to accelerate its mandate, and therefore we hope that the incoming leadership at the AU Commission takes the Union to a higher level. At the global level, we are concerned about the conflicts and wars that are taking place and threatening international peace and security. South Africa is of the view that the situation in Palestine, particularly Gaza, needs...
In Central Africa, U.S. President Joe Biden arrived in Angola on Monday, marking his first and only visit to sub-Saharan Africa as president. Biden, who will hand over to Donald Trump on January 20, is set to meet with Angolan President João Lourenço in Luanda today. He is also scheduled to deliver remarks at the National Slavery Museum, highlighting historical ties and shared aspirations for progress. On Wednesday, the 82-year-old president will travel to Lobito, a key port city about 500 kilometers south of Luanda. There, he will spotlight U.S. investments in the Lobito Corridor, a major infrastructure project backed by loans from the United States, the European Union, and other partners. The trip underscores Washington's growing interest in Africa amid China's significant investment on the continent. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer insists in a keynote speech that Britain will be able to ally with both a Donald Trump-led United States and its European neighbours. The Labour Premier has devoted a significant portion of his first 5 months in office on mending ties with the EU after the previous Conservative government's bitter exit from the bloc. However, Trump's victory in last month's US presidential election has raised fears that the Republican could complicate Starmer's so-called reset, particularly if he starts a trade war with the European Union.
The idea that we must choose between our allies, that somehow we're with either America or Europe, is plain wrong. I reject it utterly. Attlee did not choose between allies.
And in sports, Imo Grasshoppers defeated Kwaz Babes 43-41 in a record-setting game at the ongoing Adova Handball Premier League on Monday in Lagos. It is the first time both the winning and losing teams will record over 40 goals in a game. It was obvious that both teams were focused on winning the game, but it was Grasshoppers who edged forward in the closing stages to win the game. Grasshoppers, former multiple National League champions, relied on experience to edge out the energetic Kwaz Babes in the final moments. Elsewhere in the women's category, Seasiders Babes beat Plateau Peacocks 28-25. In the men's games, the defenders edged Correction Boys 26-25, while Sunshine Kings and Benway Buffaloes drew 23-23. Safety Shooters crushed the Damoa Warriors 44-28. Tuesday's matches include Rima Strikers against the Damoa Warriors and Niger United facing Lagos Seasiders, among others. And that's a wrap on the news for this hour. Well, don't forget to join us again at 12, where we bring to you more news updates. In the meantime, you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV. You could also stream live on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm Joe Hansen. Stay with us. Jasiri is up next. Good morning.